So, you've been almost tabled. In this video, I'm going to show a list, battle, and after-action analysis by a beginner or a 1 in 4 player, so a player who would go 1 in 4 at a grand tournament. Then I'm going to go over mistakes they made. Hopefully, a lot of you will be able to get something out of my the way I approach list building and the way I think about an engagement. Even if you're not 1 in 4 players, maybe there will be some insights here. So here's the list concept. You're going Iron Storm with Liberia's Conclave because you want Purge. You figure it's a simple battle plan, kill the enemy. So you take a small number of very kill units. Calgar Cato and Victrix Guard and a Redeemer. Their plan is just go down the middle. And on one flank you'll have 10 Stern Guard with the Fusillade Librarian. And on the other flank you'll have a Dreadnought. And you figure that those are fairly sturdy, fairly damaging units. The Redemptor is hard to kill, the others are very killy. In the backfield, you'll have 2 Lancers, a Ballistus Dreadnought, a Tech Marine, Intercessors, and Infiltrators with the Phobos Libby in order to screen off your backfield. In my demo today, this list is going to go up against the very standard Liberator Assault Group style Blood Angels list. So here we have deployment. It's pretty much what we planned with. We'll have the Dreadnoughts on one flank, we'll have the Stern Guard on the other, and we've got the Land Raider Redeemer ready to go down the center. We've got these guys screening out our backfield against deep striking opponents. And over here we have a deployment for the red team. Scouts hidden over here, scouts hidden over here. Some sanguinary guards sitting behind this, some intercessors sitting there, assault intercessor with jump packs, vindicator, just very, and here's the impulsor with some guys inside. And they start moving their intercessors up. We put some jump pack intercessors here. Let's say they manage to go ahead and successfully roll high enough to get 3 intercessors on that objective. So your turn, you move the Land Raider up, you get him there, you put this guy on there, you keep the Lancers back because their job is to punch back when somebody does something bad. You don't have anything to shoot, so you just leave somebody back. These guys move up the flank. Your opponent basically does nothing for a turn because they're scoring this and this, and you realize that you're falling behind because they've got the center. They've got 6 OC on the central objective, and even if you move your Land Raider onto that point, you're still out OC'd. So you have to actually go out and flame them. So on your second turn, you go over here, you flame these intercessors, and then you're, but meanwhile, over here you have to decide. There's not really anybody to shoot. Do you charge right into the teeth of the Blood Angels? Maybe not. So then you have to decide, do you sit over here where you can shoot your opponents or not? And one way or another, it's not going to work out because they are going to bring in these guys from strategic reserve as rapid ingress. If you move onto this, they'll drop them behind 15.1 inches away. If you keep them behind there, they can drop them 8.1 inches away. And either way, you're not going to be able to shoot them. And on their turn, they're going to run up. They're going to demolish this squad because you're not going to get the first shot off, and they are great at shredding infantry. Meanwhile, the Vindicators are going to hop in here. This will probably just ride up over to here. This will, honestly, these guys will just do nothing. They're just going to be very conservative with these guys because they don't want them to be blasted by the Redeemer. But they take some shots back, and the 2 Vindicators manage to pop the Land Raider, outspill your troopers, and I have a bit of a conundrum because you have to decide whether you're going to charge scouts and run right into the Sanguinary Guard, or actually score points by trying to hold this objective. And but you do on your next turn, some good things do happen. Your lancer pops out. You bring out the firepower, the big guns, and they successfully take out, let's even say, both of the Vindicators. You get lucky, you get lines of sight. This guy pops him. This guy, oh, I guess that doesn't actually make sense for them. Whatever. Let's say that you succeed anyway. Somehow you magically kill both Vindicators. These guys, meanwhile, go and pop the Impulsor and outspill. Where are they? Here we go. That way you still hold the objective. And on their this turn, they rapid ingress this blob. Probably also over here? No. Maybe over here. In any case, they then rush up. On their turn, this comes here, this comes here. These guys go into that. These guys come in. Let's remove the Vindicator. These guys all go and charge the Victrix blob. If they reactive move to this, then these guys follow up. And these guys come in, and these guys come in, and you just get charged by a bunch of stuff. Somebody throws a grenade. These guys charge in. They fight. They fight first of all, and then they do some damage, and then you fight back, and you kill much of this, but the 4-up save probably save a couple. These guys come in here and kill the gladiator, the ballistas. These guys kill the lancer over here. And this combat goes on for another couple of turns. These sanguinary guard get rediverted to take them out. Maybe this spends. This gets locked in combat for quite a while. These guys clean these guys up bit by bit. And yeah, they sit on the home objective, probably just scoring points there for a while. With these guys still alive, this thing eventually gets crushed by the weight of, I don't know, mortal wounds from these guys and grenades from these guys, and these guys just eventually killing them. This squad was removed, and this eventually was killed, and that's how the battle ends. So let's go over the debrief. A 1 in 4 player would analyze the results of this battle like this. The Lancers are great. Each one popped an opposing tank, and the Incursors with the Librarian did their job of screening the backfield and survived the entire battle. So these are good. And as for bad, the Stern Guard Fusillade unit is overhyped. It just got hit and killed in one turn. The Redeemer and Victrix blob are overhyped. He blames his dice because the two Vindicators managed to successfully kill the Redeemer. One of the Vindicators rolled a 6 on its casino cannon, and they say, well, that's a casino cannon. I got unlucky. But also, the entire unit got annihilated, and the central objective lasted a few turns. And the Redemptor, it got locked in combat, and it couldn't use its blast gun against basically the ideal target right in its face. So those are the units that they think did not do well. But this analysis is badly flawed. First of all, analyzing the army unit by unit is sort of a mistake. It's I can draw you a football analogy, although I'm not a big football guy. A quarterback is sometimes blamed for the offensive line being weak because the quarterback has to make premature decisions if nobody's protecting him. And the same thing is happening here. Certain units are being exposed because other units are failing them or other units are absent. So first of all, let's talk about what they thought was good. First up, the Lancers. The Lancers had a chance to live longer and do damage because they were sitting at the back. Whatever was sitting at the back would have had a chance to do their damage. And the Lancers also got lucky because they were shooting at an ideal target, something without an invulnerable save and a lot of wounds. And if they had done the math, the player would have found out that the average damage a Lancer does to a Vindicator like that will be 9 or 10. In other words, and given normal luck, one of those Vindicators should have lived. And that not happening is no credit to the Lancer. Next up, the librarian unit with the incursors or infiltrators at the back, and that unit probably could have done the same job at half the cost just as well. Yes, the librarian prevented them from being shot at, but they were never going to be shot at. Even if this wasn't a melee army that they were facing, there was no point in killing a unit hiding in the corner at the end of the game. This could have been done just as effectively by a 65-point unit of scouts. Librarian was bling, unnecessary bling that cost a lot of points and didn't actually contribute to the battle. So you could have freed up 100 points or so right there just by dropping the librarian and downgrading that unit to scouts. When you're looking at a unit, consider not only did it do its job, but was there something cheaper that could have done its job just as well or better. Next up, let's look at the bad units. First of all, the Redeemer got essentially traded for a unit of intercessors. Not very good, but that was only because the player didn't have something cheaper they could throw at 5 intercessors. If they had had a unit of 5 assault intercessors, that could have done the job just as well and saved you 200 points or so on the Redeemer, and the Redeemer would still been around to hit back. Next up, the Stern Guard. The Stern Guard got hit because they had nobody to screen for them and because they weren't rapid ingressing. There was essentially no delivery mechanism for this very damaging unit to get the first blow in. Next up, the Victrix. The Victrix got hit by mortal wounds and then a bunch of Strength 8 AP3 Lance, which is a terrible profile for the Victrix to have to face. But this question is still, why did the Victrix get hit instead of doing the hitting first? And the basic answer is that a Redeemer charging up the board on its own, hopefully faster than whatever is coming the other way, isn't really a sufficient or clever enough delivery mechanism. And that's the problem, delivery. Now, looking at it from the other direction, the 1 to 4 player will think that these units are all defensively trash. The Victrix got annihilated, the Redeemer got annihilated, the Stern Guard got annihilated, the Redemptor Dreadnought got annihilated. And so they would think, well, the 4-up invul on the Stern Guard is trash, it's not really worthwhile defensively. The Redeemer's 2-up high toughness didn't help. The Victrix 2-up -1 to wound didn't help. The Redemptor Dreadnought -1 damage didn't help. These are all useless defensive features. But the problem is that they actually are good defensive features, but none of them were spammed, and this meant that the opponent was able to hit each target with the ideal sort of damage. Stern Guard got hit with AP1 and AP2, 1 and 2 damage at a time. The Redemptor Dreadnought got hit with a bunch of individual mortal wounds and charges and grenades and stuff, and the Redeemer got hit with Strength 14, which existed in the opponent's list, not surprising, and the Victrix got hit with high AP. If any one of these things had been spammed, any one of these defensive mechanisms had been spammed, then the opponent would have had a hard time chewing through them all at once. So to sum things up, the problem with this list were that there wasn't really a battle plan. The battle plan was just to charge up the board. This unit goes here, this unit goes there. That's a plan on how you're going to feed your units to your opponent. It's not a plan on how you're going to get the first hit in. There wasn't really fully established delivery mechanisms for each damage block. Secondly, there was no similar defensive profile to overload an opponent's offense. Thirdly, there were overly expensive backfield screeners when those points could have been spent on front row screeners and skirmishers. Those were missing. And all those together are what led to this being an inevitable loss. There weren't as many mistakes during the game as you would think. Most of the mistakes were in list building. And one point I really want to make is that flawed analysis at the end of a battle means flawed list building for the next battle. That's all I have for you today. I hope this ramble gave you some insights.